Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get Connected with Julie Bartkus and my fantastic co-host, Mr. Michael Tasner. He's a marketing guru, and I help people with their staff motivation issues. So if you got any of those, let us know. But we're delighted to be here with you today. And today's topic is all about referrals. What are the mistakes that leaders are making when it comes to referrals? And what is it that you can do more of or differently to secure referrals? So if that's a topic that interests you, I highly suggest that you stay tuned for today's episode, as we're going to deep dive into that and give you some kick butt strategies as always. Hey, Michael, how's it going?
I'm having a good week. I don't think I was ready for the weather changes in Buffalo because we got spoiled like you did.
I know.
And like all of a sudden it was like 30 degrees and a little bit of snow. And I'm like, oh, geez, I better go turn the hoses off and make sure things aren't freezing. But other than some cold weather, but we did decorate for Christmas though. So our trees, we've got two of those. I love Balsam Hill trees. So we used to always do a real tree, but we decided to do Balsam Hill a couple of years ago and haven't looked back. Like they look pretty much identical to a real tree.
Oh, nice.
So we've got those up and house is fully decorated and trying to get into some good Christmas spirit to end the year on a positive note with all the craziness going on. So,
well, that's pretty cool. And I'm interested in hearing from our listeners or our viewers. Are you a real tree person or artificial tree person? Which one is it that you have and that you'll be putting up this year? I'm typically artificial, but my boyfriend's like, I'd really love to grab one of these real trees. I'm like, oh, I haven't had a real tree since I was a little kid. So we'll see. It might be a nice little, I wonder how my cat will react to a real tree. I mean, will she climb it? She tried to climb the artificial one. So.
Oh, geez. Yeah, like I mentioned on one of our episodes, I brought home a new puppy like 3 weeks ago. And as we were putting the tree up, she was already trying to bite the limbs. I mean, she's only 10 weeks. So I keep blaming it on her being a puppy. So she peed in the house. She was a puppy. So
right. Everything's because she's a puppy. And, but there is nothing like puppy fur. There's nothing like puppy fur and a puppy belly. I mean, that's always what I really enjoyed when I had my dogs, were like, oh, the puppy fur, there's nothing like it. I think anyways. So yeah, but I hear you about the cold. It's getting cold here in Chicagoland as well, but we're going to warm everybody up with some great tips and strategies.
Definitely.
I'm excited to talk about referrals because every time I go out into the business community, I'm like looking at what are people doing to bring more business in. And if you're in a place where it's like, yes, I really need more business in, or perhaps you even need referrals for staff, we're going to talk to you about how to do it effectively and what not to do and what most leaders are doing wrong. So, and I know, Michael, being the marketing expert, you have a lot to say with this.
Well, and it's the fun thing with referrals is that every single time that I ask a center, where are you getting your new enrollments from? It's referrals, word of mouth, word of mouth. Like I've not one time in the many years that I've been working with childcare centers have they said anything different. So it definitely, when executed well, not only for driving enrollments, but we're going to kind of ping pong like we did on the call last week and jump from staff over to enrollments and back. And
we'll both have ideas about both.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. And it's just looking at, how else can you get a hot lead? And how else could you get a hot lead on a team member? So we're looking to hire 2 more people, and same exact thing. I put it out to my team first, and we'll obviously again talk through some strategies. But I think we've got maybe 3 or 4 referrals of, hey, you should call these people, and they will be at the top of the list. And I'll call all of them first.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have people that are kind of warm and know about the culture and are ideally going to be a good fit. So I think we'll be able to deliver some value bombs as always. And if you have any questions, I'm going to kind of post a couple of things on here as well.
And let us know, have referrals been a big source for your success that you've achieved in this industry? So you'll notice I'm going to try to keep this as interactive as possible. We do want to hear from you. So let us know, is referrals a big part of how you get your business or get your staff? And to me, I really believe, and I have a saying that I heard years ago, is that with relationships, everything is easy, and without them, everything becomes a lot more difficult. So when it comes to your staff or comes to clients, I want you to think about, well, who am I building relationships with, or who could I build relationships with to, pull people into our working and learning environment.
So let's dive in, and I'm going to post a few questions on here, and I'll be monitoring the chat as well. So if you hear me muting my line, Julie, I'm just making so you don't hear my typing, my loud keys. But let's start with team, because again, that like Julie, I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups, and I like to be kind of a lurker and just see what people are posting. And not even almost every single day, it's how do you find good staff? How do you bring them in? How do you keep them motivated, which we've talked obviously a lot about on our previous call. It's staff. So obviously, like most of you, I would welcome a warm referral to come into my organization than I would going through the hiring process of starting from scratch. So I'll throw the ping pong ball over to you first, Julie, and give us a tip or an idea or a strategy or even a mindset of the piece of starting with driving more team member referrals.
Yeah, and with this, I think that's the biggest thing, is that it is a mindset shift, and you got to get to a place where you really believe, like, we have brilliant people who work here, and our brilliant people know other brilliant people. So let's go ahead and tap into that as a resource. And then that can become very powerful for you. So instead of just telling your staff, hey, we've got a referral program, you bring a new staff on board, we pay you $50. Watch your positioning with this. And I want you to be telling your staff, you know what, I hired you because of your brilliance. And I know that you know other brilliant people. So what friends or what colleagues would you love to work with who you think would be qualified to be in this position? And I would even hand out a sheet of paper and have them list like 3 different names or 4 different names. And then for everybody who's turning in those referrals, you could do like a monthly raffle at your staff meeting just for referrals. So it doesn't even mean that it has to go anywhere. But if they're thinking about like, oh, well, what friends and colleagues would I like to work here who are qualified, and they submit that paper into you, they get put into a raffle. So it just keeps the energy around the idea that, yeah, our people know other people. And if they've taken childcare courses, they know other people. If they've, been out into the community, they know other people. So your team members are always meeting other people. And we want to open up their minds to that. Even if you have team members who are going through classes, say, hey, keep your ears open for people who you really like, people who are in our area, people who we could build relationships with. And the relationships might turn into a job offering or a position being filled. But if anything, it's going to create that positive energy around who you are. And that in and of itself is going to help you to attract higher level people to your organization.
Love it. I like it. No, that's a great way to start. When I look at kind of what have we done from a staffing standpoint to drive more referrals, and I would say probably 50% of our team has came in through referrals, maybe even a little bit more, and the other 50% has been from different job boards. It's varied for us. We've had good success with LinkedIn, but then candidly, as of late, we've been seeing more success with Indeed and getting. We just posted a job late last night, and I don't know, 100 applicants, and that's not to say that every one of those is qualified. And my agency is different from all of you that are listening in the sense of people can work anywhere in the U.S. So my hiring pool is a little bit larger, but it definitely has been interesting to see the uptick of people that are applying, at least as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great to hear that you got a large referral base and that you've got a lot of folks from there. And I really just think it's about cultivating the right relationships. But if you start off with your current team members and they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling like, oh, I don't even know if I want to stay here, you're not going to have a lot of success with your referral program. But if you're able to build team members up and progressively set them on this course for success, with your organization and they're thinking long term, they're gonna be like, yeah, I'd love to pull some of my friends in. And I know one of the best jobs I ever had was when I got to work with one of my good friends who I knew in college, and she actually got me a job, and her name was Lisa, and she got me into corporate world, and it was just so much fun being side by side working with her. And we got a lot of work done. We were very happy, very productive. We took a couple long lunches here and there, but but for the most part, it was just an amazing experience to be able to have one of my best friends working with me. And I think that's really cool. And then later in corporate, I actually got my sister a job, and then it was really fun to have her there with me in the workplace. So I think when you are able to work with friends, as long as you've got the appropriate boundaries set in place and everybody really is paying attention to the corporate values or the company values, it could be a big win-win where it creates a lot more happiness and positivity in your program, in your workplace.
I like it. And when I was kind of looking back at what have we done the last couple of months for to drive these referrals, obviously in anticipation of our meeting today. And surprisingly, I've done fewer things than I had thought. And what I have found is that if you've designed your center to where people, they just want to jump in and they just love working there, that they're just going to start to naturally refer people. So, and I know that's easier said than done, but when you start to really focus on building a great culture and building a great workplace, you don't have to necessarily incentivize your team. I've found that the cash incentive, because we do offer a cash incentive, and it's tiered, and it's pretty hefty. I believe it's either $250 or $500 if they refer someone that ends up joining after X amount of time. But usually it's an afterthought. And a lot of the times when someone's referred someone, I have said, oh, we're going to send you your first $250, for example. I didn't even know we had that, or I forgot there was even money. So usually it's not the first reason why they're going to refer someone. As you said, people want to be around people that they like. They want to be around people that they know and trust. And I've also found that the referrals normally, not always, but normally the referrals are going to be of a higher caliber, because if you've got a director, for example, or another teacher, do you think they're going to want to refer somebody in that is going to be less than good? Because it's going to start to reflect poorly on them. So someone's not just going to want to help somebody get a job, for example, without having at least some basis of his or her performance.
Yeah, I agree. And as long as you have high caliber staff, they know other people. So, and that's why I like the idea of having a sheet of paper where you ask your staff, who are 3 people? Turn in 3 people's names that, that we could just reach out to and say hello. And you're going to be in a raffle, because it just puts the awareness back in front of people's faces that, hey, yeah, there is a referral program, if there is one, or there is something that, or they are looking for referrals. So if it's not right in front of people's faces, they forget, we forget, and then our thought process just goes to, nobody wants to refer anybody. It's kind of a hassle, and who wants to do that? But we have to be like, man, who doesn't want to work here? Let's get your friends in here and give them the first and best opportunity. So it has to be a mindset shift first and foremost, and then really follow up with some simple strategies, and you've got a winning formula.
Love it. Love it.
So be thinking, who doesn't want to work here? Who doesn't want to enroll here? Everybody does. Everybody does. That's your mindset shift for today.
I'm just monitoring. Some of our questions aren't about referrals, so we'll aim to get to some of these at the end. Okay. So we do have 2 questions around COVID and enrollment. So we'll talk a little bit about that later in the call, as well as if we have some time. Let's jump over to the other side of the coin of parents.
Yeah.
So what have you seen working well for parent referrals? Is there something that you're like, I love what this particular center is doing, or they're driving more referrals than anyone that I've ever seen? Do you have a good example there?
I think that a lot of our childcare programs struggle with this because, and they get so crazy busy putting out fires. So I don't think they're tapping into it in as a powerful way as they can. And when I think about referrals, I think about my chiropractor, because you don't get off an adjustment table typically without like, oh, and here's something for your friends. Go tell them about us, and here's something. And one of the things that I really like, and I think this is a mistake that most people are not doing in their childcare programs, and I see this every single time I go into my chiropractor's office. He's got it posted a couple different places. It's a quote, and it says, "Your referrals are the biggest compliment you can give us." And if you take that and just put that on a sign, put it by your front door, put it on a window, put it somewhere where people can see it, it brings it back to awareness, the awareness that, hey, yeah, they do have a referral program, and who can I send in? And even if you have a bonus or free tuition or whatever it might be, that's all on top of that. But to me, the biggest thing is to keep people aware that, yeah, we are looking for your referrals, because they might think you're filled, you don't need us. But keep it in the forefront of their minds that your referral, you want to give us a compliment, you want to give us a gift. The biggest compliment and the biggest gift you can give us is your referrals.
Love it. And I think when I've taken a look at referral programs of what are the different centers doing, what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
Similar to, as you just said, a lot of centers, they just don't have a full-blown structured process. And it's almost like maybe once a year, twice a year, like, oh, we should try and get some more referrals. And you go on that whole coin of, okay, well, let's see what we can do. One of our listeners gives 50% off their tuition for referrals. I'll share my candid thoughts on that one in just a second. But you normally don't have a structured process. So for me, my step one is always, what is that process going to look like, and what are you comfortable with doing? And I've talked a little bit about this in the past, but even before you start to put that process together, there's something that I really want you to think long and hard about, and that is looking at how much is one new enrollment worth to your center.
So we're going back to lifetime value.
Exactly. Because, and the reason that I wanted to rebring that up is, while $50 off your tuition for a referral is fine, I can promise you that if you were doing a marketing campaign with an agency like ours, it's going to cost more than $50 to generate a new enrollment, and maybe to generate a lead or two that hopefully then turns into an enrollment. But you've got to look at if that enrollment is worth $500 a month, $1,000 a month. And again, if they're staying for 1 year, if it's 1,000, then they're worth $10,000. I'm not saying give away $5,000 to your parents, but I definitely encourage you to start to look at putting some more dollars to this particular program. And when we talk about dollars, and I'll share some more ideas as we go throughout the conversation today, it doesn't just have to be discounts off tuition, or I'm going to cut you a check for $500. That's not what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to give you a few different ideas. But I really want you to take a step back first and say, how much is a new enrollment worth? Because the centers that do have a program, they're normally not taking it as serious as you can be. I mean, right now, every enrollment counts. Mm-hmm. Every enrollment counts. And whether COVID returns or not, or I'm in New York State, Julie's in Illinois, I think both states are having more cases, like a lot of places in the US. Like, I still want you to be laser focused on continuing to drive as many enrollments as you can, and also keeping your staff motivated and happy and bringing in good people. Mm-hmm. As if the world around us isn't constantly changing, you've got to be laser focused. And to me, it really starts at, what's that enrollment worth to you? Because that's going to then help to start to dictate some of the decisions that you can start making over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'm confident that as you start to look at those numbers, you'll say, well, geez, most of these enrollments are staying 2 years and we're charging $800 a month. So that's $8,000 a year. And I'm using 10 months. They could be staying obviously for summer camp. Well, geez, that's worth $16,000. So what if I really were to laser focus the next 90 days on crushing my referral program in a great way and really putting a lot of brain power and manpower and money behind it, what could that potentially do for your center?
Yeah.
There's my little soapbox for our Wednesday afternoon. So
yeah, and I think that's great. I think you've got to be looking at, well, what are we going to get in the return here, and what kind of referral program do we want to have? Because a lot of people are like, oh, we don't give anything, and we're operating from this place of scarcity, a place of lack. But once we jump over that hump to where we're like, okay, we got one new referral in, now we awarded them the gift. It's okay. I'm going to be okay. And there's so many different things that you can do. And there's even a referral program that you could create that might not cost you anything if you build right relationships in your community with other business owners who want to get in front of the same clients, in front of the same, community as you are creating. They might be willing to say, hey, give them a free pizza. Hey, give them some cupcakes from the bakery. Hey, give them this, and you build your own package of what you could give them. And it might not cost you anything except a little legwork to get some partners involved. So it really depends which perspective you want to take on that.
No, it's a great point that, as you just said, my brain was initially thinking before we walked in today, focusing on driving parent referrals from other parents. But as you just said, that you should be getting referrals from everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
Some of the best centers that we work with, they're getting referrals from pediatric dentist office.
Yeah.
They're partnering with gymnastics businesses. So
yes.
we just brought on a new center that just signed their paperwork with us yesterday, and she owns a gym, and then there's also a childcare center inside the gym. So they've got some interesting things, but she was like, we're kind of ping-ponging off of both and kind of recruiting both sets of people. So as Julie said, make that list of, I've always hated the phrase centers of influence, because that to me just seems like a network marketing phrase, but
and I use it.
Yeah, I know you've used it, but you don't.
I hear you. Yeah.
You don't use it.
Yeah.
You don't use it in that context, but maybe it's just from I way back when I was in BNI, what is it, Business Networking International,
okay.
And I don't know if anyone's joined BNI, but are you familiar with BNI?
Out there? What's that?
Are you familiar with BNI?
I am.
Yeah. So I just remember they kept saying, there was one guy that always say, I'm glad that I've got all my centers of influence in the room, and just maybe I just have a bad taste of that phrase in my mouth. But just looking at them, who are those different businesses, as Julie said, that you're going after the same type of people? Like all of my kids are going to my dentist's office because they also serve kids, but I have never, not once, gotten an email, seen any kind of signage or anything for any childcare center. And there's actually one childcare center that's like almost in the same plaza, like 30 seconds away. And I'm sitting here thinking, why not?
Why not?
Because it doesn't cost you anything to do that.
Yeah, and there's some advanced techniques that I teach our clients in terms of building those relationships and networking with others in your community. But also keep in mind that another big mistake is that when you're looking at community relationships and you're looking to get referrals, and I know Michael's talking about dentist and doctor's office, and those are great, but a lot of time is invested sometimes in doctors who don't do any marketing. Like, you just really try to get in there because you know that they see parents, and then you finally get the approval, you can leave some brochures. That to me is not necessarily a successful equation where it's just like, yeah, they're going to leave our stack of brochures on the desk. It is a successful equation, or more successful, when that person who you're building the relationship with is an active marketer. So maybe they're online doing some things, or maybe they're speaking out in the community and they're really active. Then they're going to really realize and be tuned into the value of building those relationships. And those kind of people are incredibly valuable to partner with, to get referrals with. And that's like even Michael and I partnering for this show. We chose each other because we know that we're very active in social media. We've got great communities built. We're working hard in this industry. And we're like, yeah, let's partner together to do this show and bring some valuable content. So I want you to be thinking about the same thing when it comes to parents and referrals, is who is actively marketing? Who is it that they really benefit me and I could really benefit them?
No, that's great. And there are a few phrases that I use way too often, and one phrase is a rising tide rises all tides. And I think that right now, a lot of us, and myself included at times, are coming from a scarcity mindset. And I know, I'll just keep adjusting I can never get comfortable in these chairs. Like I bought another office chair that I have for my home office, and it was really expensive.
Yeah.
I sucked in from an Instagram ad. I buy way too much stuff from Instagram and Facebook. Like, their marketing is good. Whoever's like Lumen Skincare and all these random things. But
this is the most comfortable chair I've ever had from Office Max.
Yeah, that one looks really nice. Like, this is a Herman Miller, one of those fancy, like, but it just, I don't know. I can never
get comfortable in it.
Maybe it's just my ADD.
Yeah, and I've had some really expensive chairs, and I'm like, oh man, this thing's not comfortable. So this one just, it's not even a cushion bottom. It's just the same material. It's like a netting bottom, and it just, I don't know, provides some good comfort.
I like it.
We might have to hook you up, Michael.
I think so.
All right, back to referrals.
Yeah, back to referrals. So, yeah, I mean, you've got to come from a place of prosperity. And Julie has been a huge proponent of this with your mindset. And I know it's not easy right now. Yeah. Like, I get it, and I'm with you. Yeah. I've struggled with this all my life of coming from, even when I've had lots of prosperity, still coming from a place of scarcity, or feeling like, oh my gosh, the walls are going to cave in. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, I mean, everything is roses right now, but when you've got your blinders on and you're only looking at things from a scarcity standpoint, you're going to miss some of these things that you can just start to put into practice. And one of which is, what's stopping you from making a list of some of the businesses in the area, finding out who the owner is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can even go to Fiverr.com or Upwork, throw it up there, and have somebody else do the research for you. I mean, probably cost you $20 and say, hey, find me 50 businesses that cater to kids and babies, and give me a list of the owner and then their website and their phone number and an email. And you just start those relationships. And what's the worst that's going to happen? People say, no, I'm not interested. Right. Okay. Well, what's the best thing that could happen? You start to get a few businesses that say, yeah, why not? I mean, give me some flyers. I'll put them in my office, and we'll give you some. And heck, if somebody ends up coming to our pediatric dentist office from your center, we'll make a donation to a charity in your name or their name, or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of really good things that could happen. Yeah, and when you get together with people in the community, it's really important to say, well, what are your goals? To talk about that and have a conversation. So if you want a little bit of a insight in terms of what dialogue you would have, it's like, just call them and be interested in their goals. What are your goals? And because people are like, oh, I don't want to call them, I don't know what to say. And ask them, what they're looking to achieve, and then see if there's a good fit between the two of you in terms of, hey, here's, my clients, and here's who I have my arms wrapped around, and who do you have your arms wrapped around? And we can look at different positions in the community, from your realtors to your school principals to your, I got some hairstylist techniques and strategies for you. But really think about, who are these people and who do they want to wrap their arms around? And there might even be, a hairdresser who specializes in children's cuts, or an attorney who specializes in advocating for parents' rights. These would be really great people to build relationships with. Your realtors know the new families coming into the communities. Can you host an open house at your childcare program for all realtors in your community? So there's so many different ideas that you can run with to really extend your reach and build relationships so you get referrals. And this is what I love. I love this. I heard this years ago, and I don't know who said it, but they said most of your referrals will come from, and Michael, you could let me know if you found this to be true, from people who have never signed up to do business with you or have never worked for you, but they heard it through somebody else. So it'll be like a secondhand referral, but because they trust me and I'm going to go tell them about ABC Childcare, even though I'm not signed up to go there, they're going to be like, oh, well, Julie said to go here, so here I am. No, it's 100%. Yeah. 100% right, because there's a psychology behind, I'm trying to think the right way to explain it without getting too marketing geekish, but I mean, there's just this psychology. You would think that every parent would want to refer other parents, but some parents, they're going to brag about your center to their friends.
Mhm.
And that is their way of kind of indirectly referring, but
Yeah.
they're not going to go out of their way to refer. And a lot of times it just has to do with, there's a lot of different factors, either them wanting to be quote unquote exclusive. So like, oh, they'll send their kids to your center while everyone else goes to a different center, worrying that if their friends start all going there, that, well, geez, now little Johnny's not going to get as much
Mhm.
attention. So even though they're thrilled, a lot of times they will not end up referring people. But exactly as you were saying, a lot of those referrals will come from indirect places. And
Yeah.
the most powerful place that I have seen for referrals are these mommy groups on Facebook.
Mm.
There's a mom group in pretty much every city across the US.
Yes.
So, for example, I live in Western New York. Buffalo is one of the major cities nearby. And it's the Buffalo Moms group that's got thousands of members. I'll actually find the exact number in a minute.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that these moms really don't know each other. I'm going to bring up the number because I'm just kind of curious, but I know it's a lot.
Mhm.
They don't know each other. 8.4 thousand members. Buffalo Moms is a place connecting all local mothers in our area, average between 70 and 100 posts every day.
Nice.
So an active group, 8,000 moms, and they're just throwing stuff out there all the time. What's going on this weekend? What do you recommend to do for Christmas? Anyone have any ideas for their husband? Like, just constantly going on there. And again, even though most of them don't even know each other, they bond over social networking and
Yeah.
social media sites. And they will trust if all of a sudden 3 people jump on and say, ABC Academy is wonderful. I've heard ABC Academy is well. I've heard great things. I've heard great things. Your phone will start ringing from those indirectly close to immediately.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I think Facebook groups are incredibly powerful, and not just your mom groups. I mean, there are community groups out there that, even just here, I've got like 3 community groups that have over 10,000 people in them. And I've pulled post after post after post of moms saying, who do you guys use for childcare? Where do you go for childcare? What do you think of this childcare place? And I'm always like, I'll almost cut them out. I'll take a picture of them and show my leaders in our childcare business success group, hey, anybody in this area, go here, check this out, go write a response. But the strategy really, once you get in these groups, and I've seen people do this in the industry, is like, hey, this is so-and-so, and we have some openings here for some children, come in and enroll. Or, hey, we're really looking for staff, really need some people, who do you know? What you want to do is really baby step it. You're going to court, right? So you're not just going to get married right away. You're going to start the dating process where you're going to start just being in those groups and being a shining light for people. You're going to be building positive relationships. So you can write some feedback. You can make some of your own posts. And there's even some, even more advanced strategies that I teach. But get inside of those groups and just let yourself be known. And this is also a really great strategy if you're dealing with negative reviews, to make sure that you're in these groups, and so that people are getting to know, like, and trust you at a whole different level. I felt that one coming on. Excuse me. Thank you. Sun dust, I think, getting in my eyes. But really think about, who can I build and cultivate these relationships with so that they know me, they like me, and they'll come and visit. And then you could eventually get to a place where it's like, I've got some openings, I've got this exclusive opportunity, whatever it might be. But it's not the way that you start out. Really look in those groups, build relationships, offer feedback when you can, and be that bright, positive, sunny person who's like, oh my goodness, we're here changing the lives, of the future generations. And it's so amazing to partner with all you parents.
Love it. So let's jump over and do maybe one or two more ideas on staff.
Okay.
And then maybe if we have a little bit of time at the end, we'll take a question or two. We've got a couple of questions around
we do
everyone's favorite topic of COVID. Do you have one question around referrals, parent referrals? So I'll bring that one back up in a minute. But
okay.
Anything else that you're seeing? Is there, and I was trying to go through my list of centers that I know are actively recruiting and encouraging referrals. The other thing that I was going to kind of share was same kind of concept as parent referrals into your center is putting out that word from a hiring standpoint and putting it out to those same types of businesses that you're networking with, the same types of businesses that are potentially referring parents to you to say, hey, did you know they're also hiring? I found that once things kind of start going through that little digital grapevine or in-person grapevine, I've seen some pretty good success with flyers of we're hiring in some of those different businesses as well. Just a one little flyer, for example, and usually making it creative and fun and not black and white.
Right.
So something colorful that fits your brand and stands out. But usually for my business internally, a lot of times, again, the best referrals have came from other team members, but I've been getting a lot of great referrals from clients. Hey, we used to work with this person at a different marketing agency and they were really great. So have you ever thought to ask your parents? I've seen a lot of centers that I know that have actually hired parents. I didn't know you were only working part-time. And so all of a sudden you end up hiring some of your parents, which often are going to be your biggest advocates anyways.
Right.
But I definitely encourage you to, a lot of people they look internally and they say, all right, we're going to do a referral contest. If you refer someone, great. If they end up getting hired, we'll give you $100 or a gift card or something.
Yeah.
But I would encourage you to really just cast a wider net.
Yes.
I like to have a couple of different nets. So you've got your staff as one net. You've got maybe Indeed and Craigslist and maybe Monster.com, for example. You've got a few nets in kind of the job boards. And if you haven't listened to the content and the live that we did on job boards, I mean, Julie is an expert at rewriting job descriptions. We literally audited some job descriptions live, and we're like, I mean, some of those job descriptions were like not ideal. We'll just say that. I mean, they sounded like everyone.
Did you do a little rewriting?
I actually completely rewrote my stuff.
Oh, good.
So I used the content as well. I'm like, geez, as I went through our training, I'm like, our stuff didn't sound as good either.
Awesome,
so yeah, definitely got to take action you got to practice what we preach, but cast that wider net.
Yes.
And have a couple of different nets, as many places as you can.
Absolutely. And I tell our clients, think about yourself like wrapping your arms around all the people in your community, and you want, all the parents to know you. You're the standout expert in childcare. So how do you get yourself in front? And even if somebody hears you speak, or if they hear you on the radio, which has happened to our clients, or they see you in the newspaper, it's like people are going to start referring other people to you, like, oh yeah, I saw this in the newspaper and I thought you should go and check them out. I saved this article for you, or whatever it might be. So people do talk. But when we come to referral strategies, another thing is think about, where do people have to go to get their degrees? And do you have relationships with these schools, with these colleges, with these professors? And I'm pretty certain that you will find them on LinkedIn, where you could actually connect with them and start building a relationship. And this is a longer term strategy, but energetically, things just start shifting once you feel in alignment with the strategy and the action that you're taking. So think about universities, think about professors, who's teaching these courses. Do I know them? Do I have a relationship with them? Because how cool would it be for that professor to put you on a platform where you do a little Zoom training and you have a call to action saying, oh, and if you're interested, we're always looking for amazing people to add to our team. And you don't know who's moving from Michigan to Chicago. I mean, you just never know. So don't even rule that out. I've met people in Hawaii who were looking for jobs in childcare, and they're like, oh yeah, that's my thing. So don't rule people out. And again, this is going to be shifting your mindset to thinking, everybody wants to work here. Everybody wants to work here. Why wouldn't they want to work here, right? And if in your mind you're going, well, they wouldn't want to work here because of this, this, and this, and this, then let's get on the phone and talk. But you got to come at this from the mindset of, everybody wants to work here. This professor has to know about our program, and build a relationship with him so that he could actually become a referral source. And whether you compensate him or have an affiliate fee for him, which he would probably like, that's up to you. But build these relationships So that's one idea in terms of use LinkedIn, use Facebook, connect with people who can refer bunches of other people and help position you as an expert in childcare.
Oh, and it goes back to, I know that you have been huge on building those tight relationships, and it's been a cornerstone of everything that a lot of what
I'm
you've
so old
taught.
school.
I was going to use that. I was going to use that phrase, but I'm like, no, but it's really not. I mean, a lot of people like me might call it old school and say, oh, it's old school, but that's the stuff that really is going to work. I mean, when the fill in the blank hits the fan, you very quickly start to find who those true relationships are. And if they were just a digital connection, or you didn't have a tighter bond, or you don't know anything personally about that particular person. So, I mean, obviously I want people referring families to you. I want people referring team members to you, but I want you doing the same for them. And referring patients or clients or customers and staff. So it's reciprocal, but I also want you to get to know that owner and know, like, and trust them and learn about their family personally, not just, I know they own a dental office, and where do they live? Where do they like to hang out? What are some of their favorite restaurants? I'm trying to, just personally speaking, and I usually do it around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Sometimes we'll do client gifts. A lot of times lately we've been doing donations to charity. So unlike the Seinfeld episode, it's a legitimate charity, not a fake charity like the George Costanza would be make a human fund or something like that. But so we've done that. But I always like to just count my blessings, and I should be doing it year round. But obviously a lot of times around the holidays, people do a lot of self-reflection. But I start to look at those relationships and just start to look at, are there some fun little personal things that you can do just to continue to show that you care, that you're grateful for that relationship. Because, I mean, as Julie has taught and mentored a lot of her clients around it, it's those relationships that are really going to help continue to move you in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They will propel you, and it does something for your energy too. When you surround yourself with, the right people energetically, it just becomes a little bit of a funner world. So yeah, absolutely. And think about things too that can become a natural referral source for you. So if you have staff members and you're like, oh man, we've got a great team, we really need a few more. I mean, do something like a competition and have them post a video on their timeline of why they love their job. Just tell them you want to see videos on their timelines, tag you, why you love your job. And then you could do a contest for whoever gets it up and out there or gets the most likes or whatever it might be. And then it just becomes a fun, natural way. And this is, just one idea, but it becomes a fun, natural way for your staff's friends to hear how much they love their job, and they'll be like, are they hiring? Is there anything there that I could do? Because I'd really love to work for a place that has that kind of fun atmosphere. And I promise you that when you step into this place where you are on fire about your vision and you are in love with the team that you have and in love with the program that you create, and you go out to the bank or you go out to this place or you call this person, you're just going to draw people into you. The people who've asked me over the years if I'm hiring, from college teachers, when I was writing our best-selling childcare business success book, I had people like, just kind of like on the side here, if you're ever hiring, I really like this thing that you're doing and I'd love to be a part of it. If your vision is silent, if nobody knows what it is, you're not going to be attracting those people into you. So make sure that you're putting it out there and you're just like beaming and raving about your team members. And that's going to create a natural referral source for you as well. And might even be a direct referral source where people are like, you know what, I work at the grocery store, but I've got a degree in early childhood education. And what I know from my research in this industry is there are a lot of people who got their degrees in early childhood education with hopes of what the industry would provide them, and then they were burned. They went into a bad workplace. They went into a bad team environment. They're like, never again. So you don't know if these people are out there thinking, well, what if? Or what if there's a different kind of workplace? So there's a lot of people out there. And I think that there are a lot more people than you could ever imagine who would love to be in this industry.
It just continues to echo, and we've talked about this almost every episode. It's, I mean,
Is it the vision? Is it the vision?
It's the vision. It's the mindset. And you need that now more than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like, I mean, the elephant in the room is that it seems like things might be a little bit challenging with COVID the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And as we talked a couple of months ago about making sure that you have your vision, you've got to have that so that that's going to help if things do get challenging again the next few months. That if you have that vision and then you combine that with practical actions and taking steps every day, it's a winning strategy. But I have found that anytime that I have lost my way, and I do a lot of audio messages. I got to start using your tool more, Voxer. Great tool. I wouldn't say I've tried to avoid it, but there's only a few people that are on it. So then I'm like, oh, geez, there's another tool that I'm going to forget to check. But I do a lot of voice memos on my iPhone, so I guess it's the same thing. But I'll do a lot of these memos, and one of the memos that I did this afternoon to my operations director was just talking about I want to make sure that our vision is tight for the next 3 to 6 months if things get crazy again. And just, is there anything that we need to take a look at? So not just the vision, but the mission, just getting everything aligned again. Because again, if things start getting dicey, we've got to make sure that we're in alignment on that, because otherwise it just goes back into kind of fire drill mode. So same thing. You've got to have that in alignment and kind of front and center.
I agree.
Just let me pull a couple of questions here, and I'll Mendez asked for information in Spanish. Unfortunately, I'm not fluent in Spanish. I have someone on my team that is, but
I am not. We could always pull a translator on.
A couple of people said they offer discounts off of tuition for referrals. Do you like that concept, Michael? It sounds like you were going to say something, but you didn't. So the reason I guess I didn't go down that rabbit hole was that usually it's offending a lot of centers, because that usually is what, from a referral standpoint, what you do.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm going to give you a discount off your tuition. But unfortunately, the parent isn't going to see it or feel it. So in the past, I've talked a lot about doing something that's completely outside of the box. So a spa weekend for the parents, for example, where you pay for whatever, 2 nights at a hotel, maybe couples massage, dinner, and that's not going to be a $50 thing. That might be a $250 or a few $100s. But a few things. Number one, they're going to talk about it to all their friends. They're going to post about it on social media. They very well might tag you and say, thank you so much, ABC Academy, for sending us away. Because a lot of these parents, I don't know about you get, I know yourself and your boyfriend, you guys seem like you get away and do a ton of like fun stuff every weekend. I live vicariously through your Facebook feed of all the fun things and nature, and you guys are always out and about. But I think a lot of busy parents are not taking enough time for themselves, especially around the holidays and with COVID again, that people are kind of, oh, geez, here we go again. But if you give them something like that, I promise you they are going to, so what I'm looking for, not cherish, but I mean, they're going to be a lot more thankful for that than $100 off their tuition or something like that. They're not going to feel the $100 off it. They're not going to necessarily notice it. So I would encourage you to really think outside the box. What about, I mean, if you know for a fact they celebrate Christmas, I mean, giving them a voucher, partner with, this is just a random idea that I just thought of in a moment, thinking about Christmas trees. What if you were to partner with one of the local places that's going to be selling trees, and you agree to give them X amount of money? So whatever, maybe the most expensive tree they have, $100, $150, or $75, or you use your negotiation skills and say, I want 10 vouchers from you. I'll give you $75. As I give these away, they can come in and get any tree they want.
Yeah.
But if you were to do that versus the $50 or $100 or whatnot, just something that they can see and feel, there's just something about being able to physically touch something, and that's
I agree.
Tchotchkes are fine, but
Yeah.
that's not really going to do it. They're going to put it, like we use Mosquito Joe to, spray for mosquitoes all summer, and they give us a tchotchke each year. I can tell you where those tchotchkes have wound up. The last year was a coffee mug. I'm like, I already have 4 million coffee mugs, so
Right.
that went in the garbage immediately. This year it was a face mask. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to walk around with a face mask that says Mosquito Joe on it. So usually people are throwing away this stuff, but they're not going to throw away something nice like that.
Yeah. And be very creative. And something that's coming to my mind is like, what if you gave them a handwritten note that said, or a note, and it said something along like, we're so grateful for, like, I'm formulating my idea here. If we could give you like $1 or a piece of chocolate for every laugh we're going to hear from our new student, little Johnny, this envelope would be overflowing, or this gift box would be overflowing. But let them know that your referral is translating to like 7,000 laughs that you're going to hear from little Johnny because he just enrolled because of your referral. So if you write a note like that, very heartfelt, very creative, and you give them $50 and say, if I had $1, here's a gift for you. But if I had $1 for every laugh, you'd be rich. Because that's what it means to us, is to hear the laughter from the children. But you could tie in your thank you note with the gift that you're going to give somebody, whether it's a cool box of chocolates or 50 singles, whatever it is. Think of a note that would go hand in hand, that just would melt their heart, that they're going to take a picture of it and put it on Facebook and say, wow, I just referred this childcare program, and look at what they did.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Like it a lot.
Touch their hearts. Touch their hearts.
No, that was great. That was great. We'll take one more question, and then I think maybe Julie will talk a little bit about, just at a high level, I know we've talked about doing, whether it's like a 1-day or 2-day event or something. I'd love to just kind of get some people commenting over the next couple of days as they rewatch this to see if there's interest.
Yeah, would you like to do a joint event?
Yeah,
and
so
brainstorm about your business. Wouldn't that be awesome?
So the only other kind of, I guess, pressing question on here is, would love to address operating with COVID and enrollment issues. What is fair and what are others doing? So I don't know if you want to tackle this one, Julie, then I can do the same. You want me to start? Doesn't matter to me. And my answer will be, it depends. So I'll give you a couple of insights, but I know you're working with centers day in and day out also. Are you seeing them start to potentially prepare for some shutdowns again? What's the energy and the vibe that you're seeing?
I think people are remaining optimistic right now, is the overall energy vibe that I'm getting from people. And it's uncertain times, but is it ever certain times? And I want to challenge you to think about that, because we'll be like, oh, well, we don't know what we used to know. Did we ever know? Because something can happen at any moment. So I really think that it's really good for our owners to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and then just visualize and keep in the forefront of your mind that the absolute best situation is going to transpire. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, Michael, but people are, yes, they're having like different plans in place in case this happens and in case that happens. And I think this time around, people are going to be much more prepared, because like, well, what is a COVID policy? What do we have to tell parents to do? We are much more prepared the second round than we were the first one, which totally blindsided us, thinking like we were just on top of the world. And I was like, woo. And then the storm came through and now we're like crushed. And there are a lot of centers that have closed, and a lot of businesses in general that have closed. I have a friend who's in the spa business. She's closed one of her locations, and another one of our clients just closed one location of their center. So if you have your plan in place and really keep your thoughts strong for the most positive outcome, that's going to be, to me, one of your best defenses.
Great information as always. Similar in the sense of, I don't really have a lot of centers that are panicking.
Yeah,
I think, and that's probably because we've been here before, and there's a lot of good silver linings and a lot of, I guess, data regarding childcare centers, and the spread of COVID has been very, very minimal, if non-existent. So thankfully, it's COVID is not easily what's easily, I guess, acquired at a child care center. So there's a lot of news and a lot of stories and studies that kind of show that it's one of the safest places to be.
Okay.
And we're not seeing a lot of parents that are, I guess, as nervous as they were 6 months or so ago. So I don't want to say I think everything is going to be perfect the next couple of months. I think there'll be some hot spots again. I think they might have to go back to shutting some more things down, but I don't think it's going to be the doom and gloom that we saw 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're still seeing lots of families that are calling our child care centers day in and day out. The only thing that may transpire is that December might be a little bit softer for enrollment, and parents might say, okay, we'll just kind of wait out December and with the holidays and things like that. And then January hopefully will be a stellar month, which tends to be one of the best months for enrollment anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing a ton of doom and gloom on our side. We're seeing a lot of vigilance, but a lot of centers, I mean, because you've been there and you've done that you're able to have those plans in place.
Yeah.
And be able to kind of pivot as needed.
Yeah. Did we answer that question?
I believe so. I mean, it's the question was again around, I mean, what are others doing? What's fair? I mean, fair, I guess it is relative.
Yeah.
We're seeing most centers, I mean, they're still going full guns blazing for enrollments, and
Mm-hmm.
they're really not slowing down, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep kind of 2 feet on the gas and just keep the train moving, and keep that positive vibes going, and keep your staff motivated and your parents informed, and follow the right processes. But I mean, realistically, in all honesty, I mean, most childcare centers, especially single center locations, you can't afford to just close down.
Right.
It's just not real. And a lot of parents can't have their kids at home. I mean, if they're now working at home, I mean, I was trying to work from home a little bit this morning, so now at my office, and I mean, all my kids are doing remote, and I mean, I have a stay-at-home wife, and I still couldn't even work from home. Like, it was, one of my sons was on a break. He's playing their birthday gift on Friday. They turned 12. My twin boys, their gift was the new PlayStation 5. So I was able to get my hands on one of those, and they had all these bugs, and I'm like walking in, I'm in the middle of a conference call, and I'm like, so you provide an essential service. Reminds you to give you another plug for your always essential gear that you have. I know we haven't plugged that in a while, but
we haven't, and now's a great time because the holidays are coming up, and we've got childcare teachers are always essential. So make sure you go to happychildcareteam.com to look through those. We've got some cool t-shirt, mugs, hoodies, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to put the URL up here. So what do you, so I know that Julie and I we're talking, I'm going to put your URL up, happychildcareteam.com. We were talking about doing a joint event. So closed community, small, intimate setting. And we would love your thoughts. Would love your thoughts on some of the topics that you would like to see us cover. It would be, again, a closed event. We would keep the investment modest. And we'd want to just be all about delivering as much value as we possibly can, again, in a closed setting and in a private setting. I know Julie does a lot of these types of events and trainings. I do a lot of training and events and things like that, but mine have normally been more kind of not necessarily industry specific. So my little plug, though I haven't even promoted it, but it just came in the mail today, is my latest. So the No Joke Guide to Recession Marketing.
Yes.
Our designer did a nice job on the cover.
Awesome.
So I guess unfortunately that might tell you where my head is at in terms of where I think the economy is. But
good for you.
I love writing.
Before.
I love writing like you. It's one of my favorite things to do. And
nice.
I always said the right book in the right hands can change somebody's life forever. I know some people have given you amazing testimonials to your books, and I've had some great testimonials of people that I've never met and they've never hired me, which is fine. But they have said, oh, I've read your book and implemented it, and XYZ happened. So it's music to my ears. But we would love some comments, some questions around this event.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on timing. Is it something that you think we should try and get done in December? Should we do it Q1? So a lot of people we have found listen to replay.
Yeah.
So we get a handful of people that come on live, but our replays, I mean, there's several hundred people that are watching the replay on a weekly basis, which is great. But we'd love any questions, comments, thoughts. If you'd be interested, we would be happy to contact you privately. We haven't put all the details together, but I would rather put it out here and just move the needle and see what we could do for you.
Yeah, doing a little brainstorming. So what I envision is almost like a little mini VIP day for you where you get some hands-on, just the ability to lay out a whole plan of action for your business strategically. What's your next steps? Shifting your energy, shifting your mindset, getting you in the right energetic space to really implement and to run with a plan of action that will change the course of your life for 2021. That's what I'm envisioning. And I know that
sounds great.
It's a big, strong, powerful vision. But if you're interested in being part of that in any way, shape, or form, you think it's a great idea, just let us know. Yeah, great idea, Julie, Michael. I'd love to see it virtual, or can you guys do it live in person somehow? So let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll love to take that into consideration.
Love it. I know that you've got a good quote around referrals.
Yes, I did pull one.
Perfect.
You see me ducking from the sun. It's like, it's coming in so strongly. It's like my shades aren't even blocking it. All right. So here is the quote that I have. Oh, wait, I had it here. Oh, sorry. It was one by Mark Zuckerberg that said, it just reinforced what I said, and then my computer just kind of lost it. Here, hang on one sec. If you could bear with me.
No, please.
All right. So a referral is the highest honor a business can receive from a customer. And that wasn't my original one, but that's what popped up here on my computer. So I'll go with that one. But a referral is the highest honor a business can receive from a customer.
Love it. As always, thank you ever so much for tuning in with us. We look forward to your comments, your questions about our upcoming event. If you have any other questions in general as well, please feel free to write us. We are here at your service and happy to help.
And feel free to message either one of us if you need some help. And Michael, I know, what's your website? Let's give that out real quick for everybody.
It is localchildcaremarketing.com. So we're probably going to add 5 or so more centers that will kind of help with their marketing this year. We've got a huge surge in October, November.
Nice.
People ready to kind of rock and roll, get their ducks in a row for January. So we'll probably kind of close the floodgates probably in the next week or two, just so we can make sure we're delivering the most value to all of our clients. So as always, Julie and I are grateful for your help, for your support.
Yes.
Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, a great rest of your week, and we will catch up with you next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.